Hello, I'm in an unusual setup, and as you can see, I have a Euro Jigsaw Jam puzzle with me. But the other thing that's interesting about this competition is that my husband is actually upstairs with Michelle, who is organizing the entire competition. So we're going to get a behind the scenes view of the entire competition, of how the Euro Jigsaw Jam actually comes to life, what kind of work is behind it, and all the effort that the organization of an online competition that is on such a scale actually takes and what it looks like. And that all starts with the participation in this competition. I'm setting everything up and see you on the other side.
So good morning, it's Sunday morning and we're about to start EJJ 118, twice as nice. And so I just wanted to show a bit of our setup, how it looks before we start a competition. So this is the headquarters here from this computer. We also have a second computer for catching the finishes. But mainly I have 3 screens, well, 4 screens actually. On the first screen, this is our streaming software. So this is where we can control what is being seen. For example, here's the starting soon page, but now I'm going to take that away. Now people on YouTube can start to see the participants. And so everything that's on this middle screen is being transferred to what the viewers on YouTube can watch. We also have the YouTube chat. And on the third screen, I have the registration. So here I can see all the participants who are joining. We've got 92 participants at the moment, as well as answers to the question of the day. So I'll be flicking between these 2 screens if I'm commentating, but actually today I'm not commentating. And then on my phone, I communicate with the virtual assistants. So I see who they're sending us. They're in the chat. No, they're in the meeting, watching the finishes and letting me know who's going to be finishing next. And that helps me to direct the screens to know who's to put onto the screens next. Yeah. So less commentating so I can focus more on the actual running of the event, because yeah, watching all of this and taking in all the information as well as commenting on the action is quite a lot. Yes.
Time to start.
Yes, and Erik is always around listening on his phone in case yeah, what do you do?
I just check if the live stream is good, because sometimes there's technical problems in the beginning or something drops out. Usually it doesn't happen, but I better be safe and catch it right away.
Yeah, there have been some times that there's been something funny with the sound, or like my microphone drops and he has to come back and adjust the sound levels. But yeah, we have a good setup now, and yeah, it looks like everybody's here. So we're going to get ready and start. I'm going to start chatting with the co-hosts. Today it's Catherine and Misha, and then we'll get the show started soon. So now I can turn off the music. And then I need to turn my microphones on, turn my camera on. All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to EJJ number 118. Hello. Hope you're all feeling really excited for 2 500-piece puzzles. We're just starting a bit later today because we are actually being filmed. So I'll just put myself up on the screen so you can see that better. And also Fruji as well. So this is Torsten, the husband of Fruji. He's going to be filming a video for Fruji's YouTube channel, which you can see maybe in a couple of weeks. Fruji is downstairs at the in our downstairs apartment. She's going to be competing in the competition, and later we'll be doing a warehouse tour. So if there's anything you would like to know about behind the scenes of the EJJ or about our company, you can let us know. We're going to have a look at the warehouse and see how, everything runs there. So if you want to know about that, we'll try and include that. And yeah, let's get started. So I'm not actually commentating today. I'm going to be focusing more on directing the screens, but we do have our co-hosts, Misha and Catherine. Okay, so it looks like everybody is ready to go. So just a reminder, you only click done when you have finished the second puzzle. Okay, let's do a countdown. So it's now after 10 o'clock. Okay, so the time limit is 3.5 hours, and we will do a countdown in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Good luck, everybody. So I have 6 people on the main screen, but sometimes I notice that there are people in the thumbnails who are also about to finish. So I keep a note of them that I can kind of rotate the images, and then I cross them out when I see that they finished, because sometimes 3 people might finish at the same time, and then I'm wondering who do I put on next, and then I can check my list as well as check the hints from the virtual assistants of who's going to put who's about to finish soon. So they're sending me piece counts. For example, they said Freya has got 30 pieces left. Minika has 20. I've already got Minika on screen, but I'm going to put Freya on. Oh no, Freya's also on there. So it's just a lot of checking and trying to see that we get everybody in the order. Of course we can't. There's always going to be chances that we miss people, but we try to get everybody on screen as much as possible.
How many do we have finished now?
So we have 63 finishes out of 98. So 2/3 of people are finished at 2 hours and 12 minutes. The time limit is 3.5 hours. And that means we still have unfinished 35 people still puzzling.
That we can see over there. And then do you still listen to the live stream actively as you now have 2 co-hosts working?
It doesn't allow me to, I'm still listening, but it helps me just to focus. I need a lot of bandwidth just to keep up with all the screens. So I'm very relieved when I don't have to pay attention to the interviews as much. It is hard for me when I'm commentating because I might ask a question and then the interviewer starts talking, but then I see immediately I have to switch up the screens and then I don't actually hear the answer. So it's quite relaxing for me to know that other people are commentating and I can just take care of the screens.
And then do you actually listen to the interviews afterwards?
No, I think if it's a new person, I tend to pay attention a lot more. But if it's someone who I've interviewed a few times, I might zone out a bit more. Well, the thing is, because we interview a lot of people every week, I kind of know almost everything about the topic. But that's one of the reasons why we have the question of the day, so that we also have a different focus for the interviewees. Because if it was just every time, tell us about yourself, tell us about the puzzle, that would get a bit boring or a bit repetitive. And I think it's really good having a different theme. It gives us the opportunity to just focus on a different aspect of puzzling and a different aspect of the person, their opinion. So that's definitely helpful. So yeah, Rika has just finished. Yay, Rika.
Yay, Rika.
So I think things are slowing down a bit now. Like the finishes are coming a bit, maybe, a couple, 1 to 2 minutes in between them. And that's also very usual that towards the end of a competition, like in the last third of the competition, that it does slow down and the spaces between the finishes get easier.
So this is where the competition gets a little bit more comfortable for you.
It does, but up until then, I'm like really, really focused. And also, I'm almost at the point where I have everyone on screen, and then I can let the virtual assistants know that then they're done, because basically the virtual assistants are helping me. They're watching all the people I can't see and giving me hints about that. Once it gets down to I have everybody on screen, so I have 6 people here, and then I have like another 20 people along the bottom, then their work is done, and yeah, then I can do the rest by myself.
There's 1 hour left. How are you doing?
Good. Yeah, so it's slowed down a bit. It's a bit more relaxing now. I have everyone on screen, and yeah, just making sure I'm always checking the small screens to make sure that whoever is going to finish next is on the screen. And Isa just finished. Isa from the Netherlands. Well done. We have one person who's still on the first puzzle, so everyone is on their second puzzle now except one person. Really hoping that in the next hour that they will finish that first puzzle, but they're doing really well. We can see that the sky is done, the castle is done, and they're getting into the greenery. But looking really good so far. Comes in right in the time limit. Well done, Wendy. Oh, and also with, looks like she has a hand injury as well, so well done. So that was 1,000 pieces. Everyone finished 1,000 pieces, so that's an excellent result for our first Twice as Nice competition. And that is 3.5 hours is up, and at least from the people who were on screen, everybody finished within the time limit, which I think is a fantastic result for our first Twice as Nice. It sounds like people would like this again, so I'm going to try and fit it into the schedule. But in terms of the live stream, I can say thanks very much to Catherine and Misha for co-hosting. It definitely gives me a break that I can focus a lot, and it was very intense because we had almost 100 people puzzling. We had a lot going on. And Fruji, how about you?
Hi. Hello, Fruji. Hi.
Yes, and yeah, thanks Matthias for, of course, participating and also chatting with us at the end, and to everyone who's still there in the comments, yeah, following on the live stream. And we look forward to seeing you next. I think the next EJJ is probably Thursday. It will be an unreleased puzzle with the sub 50 club, and the others, the flex group, will be doing it the day before. But we're very excited about that. It's a puzzle designed by an EJJ participant. I think people are gonna love it. So yeah, I'll say goodbye and have a good time, a good rest of your Sunday. Thanks. Bye.
Done.
Okay, yes. So competition is over. I have stopped streaming, and everyone is out of the meeting, so I can close the meeting now.
Is there anything left for you to do still?
Yes.
Once it's over?
So 2 people, I have to edit their times because one person, what happened, their timer stopped working, so then they wrote done in the chat. And so I wrote down the time. I had a quick look at the timer. I wrote down the time, and now I'm going to add them to they will be one of the people who's unfinished. So I got to find whoever is unfinished. That was Taya. So I can just put that she finished at 48:25. Okay, 1 hour and 48 update. Okay, so if people, there's always a certain amount of time. With an online competition, you finish your puzzle, then you go and click done. And maybe that takes 1 second to click done, maybe it takes 5 seconds. But if I have someone on screen and then say, for example, their timer just completely doesn't work, I kind of add just a few. I assume that there's like 3 seconds before they go and press done. And then I just adjust their time, because it might be, sometimes they appear in the system in like 1 minute later. So if I see that, I might just adjust that, but it's not that, oh, somebody clicked done and it took 2 seconds longer, that I'm going to adjust their timer 2 seconds. Like, it's not that. With an online competition, you have to allow that there's always a few seconds that it takes for someone to finish their puzzle. And so I'm just going to find that person and adjust their time. So I know they wrote done, and then it popped up as a message. Yeah, because here she finished at 1:54.18, but it took 40 seconds for her timer to activate. So when it's such a big difference, then it's fair to adjust their time. If it takes 5 seconds longer for the app to update, I wouldn't bother, but like 40 seconds is a big difference. And she did actually write down, so I have that. So theoretically that would be done. It looks like a couple of people dropped out of the meeting, so I'm just going to remove them. Sometimes there are duplicates. Sometimes people register on their phone, and then they also register on their laptop as well, and then we have leftovers at the end. But I'm going to just make an assumption that this person, well, I know one person was still puzzling, but I think their connection fell out. So they were the only person who had pieces left, so I'm just going to put 150 pieces left, just so that they stay in the results. And then the people who are duplicates, I will remove. So we just want it to be like clean before we download the results, because with a live stream, the way that it's set up really now, basically the live results are like perfect. Like my colleague, when he starts on Monday, he can basically just take these results in a spreadsheet and put it like straight into the results, and it's perfect. But in order for that, I have to make sure that it's clean on my end and remove any duplicates. Like I'm pretty sure this person finished. Yes, and now I can remove that duplicate. So that means we thought there were 98 people puzzling. Actually, it was 95. Okay, so now everyone is finished. We don't have any unfinished people left.
Lovely.
And now I can say end event. Okay, I download the results straight away. So here we have it. So we can see here, it's already straight away Christian, Kati, Victor, Inga, etc. So it goes from position all the way down. We have their country, we have their time, and then the other information. So we're really happy with how the timer system is working at the moment. And yeah, it definitely saves us a lot of time. As the competitions are getting bigger, we really need to be able to handle it better, and I think it's working quite good right now.
And so with that, the EJJ, what number was that?
118.
Is done.
Now it's done. Now I can have lunch.
Very good. Then let's have lunch.
Yes.
I don't think we can really start an interview about the Euro Jigsaw Jam or speedpuzzle.eu without actually asking you, how did this whole business happen? How did it start?
It's not that much of I mean, I can keep it short. We had children and decided to start selling children's products, especially cloth diapers back then, because we just realized there's a niche in the market in Germany. Went into that very small, really on and under our kitchen table. So the business was on the kitchen table, the merchandise under, and that was the extent of it for the first months. And then from there, it took over the apartment next door, first little warehouse, and so on. Just while I was still studying at the time, Michelle was learning German. She was quite new here. So yeah, it just grew from nothing.
And then how did it turn into a puzzle business?
Well, I saw a video from Karen one evening, and I actually, Aria was with me, so our middle child, and saw that there was a world championship of jigsaw puzzles, and just thought, oh, that's interesting. I like puzzles. So I clicked on it, and we watched this video, and we were just amazed. And at the end of the video, Karen announced the dates for the 2024 championship. So it was recapping 2023. And then like straight away, I looked at my calendar and I was like, I have time.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I have time. Maybe I could go to a world championship. So it was just kind of like something cool and funny.
And I was like, don't you have to qualify or something? You've never done this. No, no.
Yeah. And it was, yeah, so it was quite funny. And then Aria went to bed, and then like I watched the next video because I was like, this is so good. So I think that was like the preliminary rounds, and then I watched like the semi-finals, and maybe I even watched the finals as well. But I was just hooked, and I was just like, this is amazing. I went to my cupboard, had a look, and saw I only had one 500-piece puzzle. And so I ordered straight away. I went to Ravensburger website and ordered some of the 500s that I'd seen in the videos, so like the final and the semi-final puzzles, London postcard, and yeah, the next day I told my family I'm going to be a speed puzzler, and I said, it's quite funny. I said to Aria, Ravensburger, because I'm an English speaker, and even though in Germany you see the name everywhere, like I had never actually heard it spoken out loud, and like we have Ravensburger, board games and like a lot of children's products. It's just a very common.
It's a household brand. Yeah.
It's a household brand in Germany, and so but because I heard it said for the first time, like in my mind I'd always read it as Ravensburger, and then Karen also pronounced it as Ravensburger, and so I said to my kids, yeah, and they use 500-piece Ravensburger puzzles, and Aria was like, it's Ravensburger, and I said, are you sure? And she was like, yeah, Mum, every German kid knows Ravensburg. And so that's why I had to like then change how I pronounced it. But everybody knows what we're talking about. It doesn't matter if you pronounce it Ravensburg or Ravensburg.
Yeah. Really.
But yeah, so that was just basically like the spark of speed puzzling. And after a week, I registered for the World Championship. We decided, okay, I'm going to do this. And about a week later, I realized I think we could have an online shop for speed puzzles, because I was finding it hard to find 500-piece puzzles.
Yeah, well, you were looking for 500-piece puzzles, and you were looking for competitions to train, and you couldn't find many competitions to take part in.
Yeah, so the first idea was, how about we have an online shop? Since our company is based on online shops. So I thought, what if we have an online shop specifically for speed puzzles with links to results and the puzzles that have been used in competitions. And then about a week later, it was like, oh, how about we offer some competitions? And yeah, so Erik had to explain to our colleagues that Michelle had this crazy idea that we're going to start selling puzzles and we're going to start organizing puzzle competitions. And I think they were all really confused.
After years of selling baby products, like, okay, what is this now and why?
So it was a brand new idea, and then all of a sudden you were organizing a competition out of it immediately.
Yeah, so it sounds like really different to what we were doing. I mean, our main product up to that point was cloth nappies or cloth diapers, baby wearing products, car seats, and very kind of sustainable products for the family. And then all of a sudden it was jigsaw puzzles and doing them fast. So on one hand, it sounds like something completely different. But then on the other hand, we considered like our business, and we said, well, we do online shops. We send products all around the country or around Europe. And we are kind of in the niche product range. So speed puzzling fits into that. And that enabled us to kind of go from like 0 to 100, like in a really short space of time.
Because we had all the infrastructure there. If we would have started by starting to build an online shop from scratch, that can take months in order to do it well. Mm-hmm. And we had everything sitting there, the ERP system, the people that work for us, the warehouse. So we could just reuse that for this new project, which made things so much easier and faster, because so many, especially technical details, we had to figure out over years how to do it well and smooth and cost efficient. And yeah, it was all there.
How was the first competition? Like putting it together with the idea? Who did it come from, the technical side? And where did the wrapping paper come from?
So we never planned it to have a live stream. Like when you think of the EJJ, and the live stream is very an integral part of it, but it was never my intention. I didn't even consider that. I'd never watched a live stream of anything. So I didn't even know what a live stream was really. I mean, you had watched live streams of like rocket launches and things like that. So you were a bit more familiar. So it just came about when I announced it on Instagram, hey, we're going to offer some competitions for Europe. These are the dates. You'll be able to find them on our online shop. One of the first comments was, oh, and will there be a live stream? And then I said to Erik, like kind of jokingly, like, oh, someone asked if there's going to be a live stream. And he's like, yeah, we can do that. And I was just shocked because I'm like, what do I do? What do I say? Like, I don't know what this means.
She was so nervous, like,
I don't know what this even means. Like, what is a live stream of a puzzle competition? But we decided from day one, okay, let's just do it. And
we just thought it's so much more fun for people to know it's not just this little competition and then it's done, but there's a record of it. They can watch it again. Friends can watch it. Whoever who wants to can watch it. And we just thought, hey, it's a nice extra added value.
How was the first competition? It was nerve-wracking. I had no idea what I was doing. Don't go back and watch EJJ number 1 because it's just me doing everything. I'm the only commentator and I don't even know what I'm talking about, but somehow I managed to put on a competition. We had around 45 people participate, and and then we did interviews. So I commentated on what I saw, moved the screens around, and then the winner was Hannah. I think second place was Kiara and third was Tobias. And so that was super exciting. We did some interviews. I was just shaking the whole way through, and it was very positive to see the feedback from the first competition because people realized, oh, this is a real thing, like there were certain people who'd only ordered one competition, and as soon as the competition was over, like they went back to the online shop and bought the other ones, and then pretty much the rest were then sold out straight away. So we're very fortunate that we came in at the right time, that we had the infrastructure in place that we could offer it once as soon as I saw that there was like a need for this, a demand, because I thought, hang on, I looked at the World Championship website and there was like 1,000 people registered and about 600 of them were from Europe. So I thought, surely I can't be the only person who wants to do some practice in a competitive group environment before the competition. There must be other people who want to do this. And that, and then luckily it worked. And from the beginning, I was on Instagram, so I was able to always have that constant feedback. And I feel like it's evolved and developed because of the community involvement. I think if it was just me making my own ideas, it would probably stay just very small. But because people kept on adding, hey, it would be good if you had this and if you had that and change that format, and you should get a co-host. I'm like, I never had even thought of the idea that you could have another person to talk with. Hey, you should have somebody, and we also got to the point, like maybe after like 10 competitions, that I said, look, I can't do any more. 60 people is the maximum we can have in the competition because I'm moving things around, I'm commentating. I can't actually handle, I don't know what all the other 50 people are doing who are not on screen. And someone just said, hey, why don't you just ask if somebody wants to help you, and that would enable you to catch more finishes and be able to offer more spots. And then it was like, that's a good idea.
The assistant was born, the role of the assistant.
And how many virtual assistants do you work with?
There's maybe like 7 or 8 people.
That rotate, not at the same time.
So for every competition, so that role was, we call it the virtual assistant because they're somewhere in the world, somewhere in Europe. Generally they're in Europe. And they're volunteers from the community. So I just asked, like I just put out a post on Instagram saying, is there anyone out there who would want to help me with a competition? And I was really surprised that people actually were willing to volunteer their time and to be involved and basically be watching the finishes, giving me tips and helping me to catch as many people on the screen as possible. And it's growing. I mean, at the competition we just did today, we had almost 100 people. So we had 3 people watching.
Three watching, 2 commentating, plus you directing. So that's 6 people to run the thing. Something going on.
But also like with the co-hosts, I mean, I had no idea who would respond. to the call out, like, is there anyone else there who might want to commentate on a puzzle competition? And then you replied.
Yeah, and a couple of other people. So I think there's 4 of us now who are like a fixed co-hosts, I think.
Like, so you, Jim, and Catherine, very regular. And then we have a lot of people who, might commentate one competition every 3 months or something like that.
With the virtual assistants, how do you keep in touch with them during the competition?
I have my phone, and I have a WhatsApp group for the people that are helping, and they just send messages. So first of all, we always divide the alphabet. So like today we had 100 people, almost 100, and so I just went and counted roughly 33 people and kind of saw where it fell in the alphabet. So today it was like A to G. So one person watches everybody with the name starting A to G. Then it was H to M and then N to Z. And so they're just watching the people with those names. And the first like 10, 15 minutes, they're just giving me updates like, oh, these are the 3 fastest people in my group. And then, oh, so-and-so is 75%. So, I mean, because we've had some finishes that have been under 30 minutes, it can happen very quickly that people are pulling out ahead. So knowing who's like, okay, they're halfway done, 3/4, and then once somebody is 100 pieces or left, they start telling me piece counts. So they'll say something like, Victor, 70 pieces, Carty, 50 pieces, or things like that. And then as it gets closer and closer, like later at the beginning, there's only a few people who are pulling out in front, and we kind of know who to expect those people, but it's pretty much everybody else that I need the help with, because once you get past the top 15 people, the finishes can be so close together. Yeah, so I'll be getting messages like, this person 15, this person 10, this person 25, this person 30, and I have to look at them and go, okay, this person has 40 pieces left, so I take the person with 40 pieces off, I put the person with 10 pieces on, that we catch their finish. And this person has 35 pieces, but this person's only got 15. Okay, I'm going to take this person off and swap them. And then once these 2 people finish, I put those 2 people back on. So it's just a big juggling act, basically. It's a juggling of screens.
How much time does the speed puzzle business actually take up from your week, let's say, compared to everything else that you are doing now?
It's hard to tell. It depends a lot on the week. Like I think last week or so, Michelle organized the schedule for the next sale. We always call it the sale when we release the whole bunch of launch, when we launch all the mystery puzzles. And it took her basically all week juggling things, changing things. Oh, I need to think of that. And because make it all fit, put the right puzzle on the right day, make it work with all the real competitions out there, the not online competitions, and even the online competitions, and with our personal schedule. So that week was pretty full in that regard for Michelle. Other weeks are much better. It's usually also when we launch all the puzzles, there's a lot of packing to be done and everything. So it's more the warehouse team, which is really busy then. So it's hard to give a number. They're very busy weeks and weeks which are not so.
I think it's just important to point out that this is not my full-time job. So this is like half my job. So I still work 3 days per week in our shop in Trier selling car seats. I'm a consultant for children's car seats, and especially for rear-facing car seats. And I'm the only person who offers this within like a 2 or more hour radius of Trier. So we have, so I feel that this is not, even as much as I love puzzles and I would love it to be a full-time job, I feel I also have a responsibility to the families in my region that I provide this service. And I had 3 full days where I'm just doing car seats, and it's basically, one customer leaves, then I check my watch and I have like, I have 15 minutes. Okay, what can I do? Then I quickly go on Instagram and answer some Instagram messages or something. So puzzles kind of squeeze in wherever there's gaps. Also, some days I don't have any car seat appointments and I just focus on puzzle work at the office. But there's also the social media, which happens after hours. There's the competitions that happen in the evenings and competitions that happen on Sundays. So
It is very slowly taking over more and more of the business. We're still selling definitely way more baby products than puzzles, but given that we are not only selling mystery puzzles, but also the normal ones, so it's growing. Slowly taking over more and more of the warehouse, which is a good time because we have been discontinuing a few baby brands over the last years because some brands stopped working, some brands just didn't work so well anymore, which freed up some space, and now we're filling that space with puzzles.
Just to get back to the scheduling and how you come up with the launches and everything, what goes into putting a schedule together?
It's a lot more work than it sounds. So I'm always surprised. Like, we also always go through multiple versions of it. Like, pretty much as soon as one competition has like sold, like we've done like one launch, okay, that batch is now sold, we sit down and we look at our personal calendar and we plan when it would suit us, and we plot in the dates, and we go, okay, look, we can offer these 14 dates. But then what happens is then this competition gets announced, and maybe I want to go to that competition. So then I'm like, okay, so I'll take this competition and I'll move it a bit here, and I'll move that one a bit over there. And then maybe there's a competition that's announced, like the World Series, that I'm not able to attend, but I know a very large portion of my audience will be attending, but also a large portion of my audience will be watching. So there's no point putting anything on that weekend. And also considering that people are going to be traveling, it doesn't make sense for me to try to put a competition on when there's a World Series live stream on, for example. So then I try and make space for like some larger competitions. So I'm constantly shuffling things around. And the other thing is...
well, you have to see which puzzles did you actually buy, and then which puzzles go well with what kind of competition. You know, we're not just doing live and flex, we have all these different formats, so which puzzles are best for certain formats, and you have to match all of that up.
Yeah, but also what I wanted to say about the World Series is, for example, they have an event which is without an image. So for me, one of my goals with the Euro Jigsaw Jam is also to train for big events like the World Championship or the World Series. So then I start looking at my schedule and thinking, is there a puzzle that is suited to be an unboxed competition? So then I'm trying to find the right competition. It has to be before that date. So if I find an unboxed competition, I want to squeeze it in before the 1st of May. So we have multiple versions.
When you explain it like this, it sounds not that hard, but it takes more time than
it just takes a lot of time. And then we find out that there's a wedding that we know of. So then
everything changes again.
Yeah, I think one of the hardest things is the Sundays, because a proper pairs competition only really works on a Sunday. A 1,000 piece competition, you can only put it on a Sunday. You can't put a 1,000 piece competition in the evening after work. Also, something like today, Twice as Nice, where people are going to be puzzling, the majority of people are going to be puzzling more than 2 hours, up to between 2 and 3 hours. It also doesn't fit on a weeknight. So Sundays are like premium time, and that's when I have to decide, do I do an unreleased puzzle, a pairs, a 1,000 piece, Twice as Nice. And I also want to have a Sunday free now and then.
How many mystery puzzles do you release now in one launch in general?
I think it's about 15 puzzles.
More or less.
Yeah.
Depending a bit on the dates, how much we can squeeze in.
Yeah, it might be 15 dates, and some of those puzzles might have 2 puzzles.
Of course, in summer when we're away for 2 weeks or something, then it's just less in that slot, so it varies a little bit.
Since you had the infrastructure already for setting up something of this scale, how do you think it's different being in like the speed puzzling world as a business compared to being just a speed puzzler?
I feel one of the main benefits is that I have a very intense involvement with people. Like, because if I was just a speed puzzler, like maybe I would meet some people at some events that I would go to. But because like I need co-hosts, and I've met you, for example, like we've had just a very interesting getting to know you process, because it was like we don't know each other, but hey, now we're on screen and now we're interviewing people and we're just going with the flow. And I think I very quickly made friends with the people who were helping me but you also see a different side of people because everybody has different strengths. You know, some people are really analytical, some and strategic. Some people are really very social and very people-based. So I got to see a really nice, diverse side of people through cooperating. And I think that's one of the main benefits. I think if I was only there as a speed puzzler, I think getting to know people would have taken a lot longer because I didn't have a reason to write to someone and start a conversation as such.
Yeah, I think Michelle enjoys doing things very intensely, and this is just full immersion on all fronts, doing everything. And
Yeah, couldn't have gone
likes
deeper
that.
into speed puzzling as this
Yeah.
immediately. What do you think is the secret recipe of the Euro Jigsaw Jam that makes it so attractive for people? Why do they keep coming back to it?
But I think part of it has to do with speed puzzling in itself, that it's just so addictive and it's so fun, and also knowing that there are other people doing the same puzzle at the same time as you. That's it's a very different experience than I just take a puzzle off the shelf, I just sit at home by myself and I just do this puzzle at any time. But knowing that other people are doing the same puzzle and that there's this, this challenge, but also that people are being watched, and you can also share your joy and your success or your disappointment on Instagram, and other people will comment and encourage. I think that's the community engagement is really important. And when I participate in the events organized by other competition organizers in Europe, from France, Poland, Italy, UK, Sweden, Denmark, and Switzerland, I always get a thrill about it. I'm always telling Erik, like, wow, that was such a great feeling. This must be how people feel when they have our competitions, but like I get addicted and I'm like, wow, that was so much fun. So that's one side of it, but also the fact that afterwards people can share their pictures on Instagram, and most of us are there, so we can comment on each other's posts and encourage each other, cheer each other on, and or commiserate if it was a terrible puzzle. But there's just this feeling of a belonging community where it's not just like I did a puzzle by myself at home and nobody cares. Yeah.
I think that caring, being part of a group that does something together, it just feels different. In all sports, I mean, training alone, it's what you do because you kind of have to in order to stay up there. But the real thrill is always in the competition.
And I think it just also knowing that you might bump into these people at a future competition, or that might see these people on the world's live stream. There's like this recurring group, or as you say, you can hang out in the chat and chat with like the regulars. It does, give us a sense of community, even though we're all living in different spaces and we are mostly interacting through a screen. But having in-person events to look forward to is also a big part of that. Like if we were only ever to interact through a screen, we would still have some nice, friendly interactions and that. But it certainly is heightened when okay, I'm going to see that person at the Worlds, or I'm going to see that person at the Nationals. So it's just something to look forward to.
Should we move over to community questions, since we're talking about the community? I'm going to have to use my phone for that.
Sure.
So yes, I asked on Instagram if anyone has any question, and during the EJJ there were also a couple of questions of the behind the scenes of the Euro Jigsaw Jam. So we're going to trying to answer all of them. The first one was, how do you establish healthy boundaries at events when so many people want to talk to you?
I don't think I have any boundaries.
No healthy ones, at least.
Healthy or unhealthy. I really like it when people come up and say hi. I don't have any problem. You can come up anytime. I know some people who are more well-known prefer not to be bothered half an hour or half before an event, before a competition, for example, before competing. They want to be in the zone. For me, I don't really care because I have never got nervous before a competition. At Worlds, I was not nervous at any point. And 10 minutes before the competition, I would rather have a conversation with someone than kind of, just be hanging around doing nothing. So I'm always looking for people to talk to, and I'm very happy when people come up and say hi. And what happens is I try to allocate people in my brain, because because I'm looking at the results of the EJJ every week, and they're getting longer and longer, and we're having more and more people participate. I recognize names, and I have reference points. Like so, when people come up and they say, "Oh, hi, I'm Anna," or "I'm Marie," I always ask, "What is your surname?" And then I can kind of lock it in, and I think, "Oh, that person was on that team at that championship," or "Hey, they did really well at the 2 weeks ago at the EJJ." So I have a very good memory for names, and I like to kind of match people up. So that's why I will always kind of try and ask you, "What is your name?" And then figure out, "Oh, you were at that competition," or like that. But I'm very happy for people to come up, and the more faces that I have for names, I think it's the better.
Yeah. Actually, a question that ties in a little bit with that, like how confidently do you recognize people just based on the live streams that you do?
Very good. I mean, like when I'm watching like a live stream from the Worlds that was commentated by other people, like there's just names popping into my head. Like I recognize a lot of faces. But I also recognize there's other things that I recognize, like mascots or the back of people's heads. Like there's certain things or certain T-shirts, So I don't need to look at, like if they're within Europe, I tend to know already who it is. But I might look it up on the participant list, like if I'm commentating at the Worlds, just to make sure. But outside of Europe, like I wouldn't guess any names from Asia, or maybe only a handful from Australia. But that's why I'm trying to update my database. So come up and say hi. But yeah, nobody needs to feel nervous or that they're bothering me at all.
Are there any other formats that you have in mind for the future for EJJs?
There is one that we haven't done yet, and that is kind of like a team marathon, perhaps a team's mini marathon, maybe combined with a party. So this is something that we talked about in Valladolid. So one evening there was Fuji and Boston and myself and Jim and Mari, and we were having dinner and we were brainstorming, and we came up with this fantastic idea. But then afterwards I kind of realized maybe it was too hard and it wouldn't quite work. I don't know. I would be interested to know from other people, would they be interested in some kind of team marathon, or a team, maybe not like a 10-hour marathon, maybe like a team's event with maybe like 4 1,000-piece puzzles, for example, something like that. Because I feel like in the spring or summer, a lot of teams will be getting together anyway to practice for nationals. And yeah, also not having to pick 500-piece puzzles is also a relief for me, just because there's only a certain amount of 500-piece puzzles, and if I can then extend to start looking at 1,000-piece puzzles, it's...
Yeah, but it's always harder to sell the pairs. It's much harder for the people. You need to get together physically somewhere, so it's usually a much smaller outcome. So that's why we just don't offer that many pairs, even though we would like to.
Yeah, so pairs always sell slower than individuals. So then the question is okay, if we have teams and you need, let's say, 3 or 4 people, the chances of people being able to get together on that day is even less. So that's why I haven't done it yet. I kind of talked myself out of it, that maybe it was just not for online.
Yeah. I always think we have too many formats, but they basically all came from the communities. Always people asking, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And then we try it, and people are happy to take part. So now that's why we have so many. I always feel for the new people who, for the first time, hear about speed puzzling, come on our website, and they see what they have here. How many formats is it now? 8? I don't know. I would be confused, but people seem to be fine. I guess they patiently read everything and make their pick.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah, that's actually kind of an interesting thing as well. Like how many newcomers do you have at EJJ competitions regularly?
Well, I would say that the new people tend to be a bit slower in ordering, so they're usually not the ones that are there at like on the dot waiting for the new puzzles to be released. They might hear it secondhand from a friend, or they might be wondering about it and then might be reminded when they see people posting about it on Instagram. So once the bulk of the launch is sold, the things that are left over are pairs and flexes. So we tend to see in the pairs competitions a lot of new names, and that's one, because those are the competitions that are still left, but secondly, that's also when the non-puzzlers get kind of brought in. Like maybe there's a woman who's really into puzzling, but she doesn't have a pair, so then somebody gets roped into it, maybe a child or a neighbor or a friend, and so then that's a lot of people's entry into the EJJ is through a pairs competition. And then also the flexes, because we have a larger amount of flex competitions. Like I order like 100 for a regular and 140 for a flex. 100 for a live and 140 for a flex. Or if it's an unreleased, we have the opportunity to sell more, and those are the ones that tend to be left over, and so that might be their first entry into a competition is also a flex. And so, for example, in the flex that we had last week, there were probably 5 to 10 names that I didn't recognize. So, I mean, we've had about 1,000 people participate in the Euro Jigsaw Jam so far. So that's why I recognize a lot of names. Yeah. A lot of people do group orders. So I tend to recognize the names of the people who order on behalf of others. And they also tend to be quite motivated to participate themselves. So, yeah, maybe like there's 200 to 300 regulars.
You're guessing, aren't you? It's hard to tell without looking at the numbers.
Yeah. Guesstimating.
Yeah, we're more focused on making it happen than looking at all the numbers in the end. We could, but I don't think that's really our thing so much.
We're going to move on to a question that is going to probably take a little longer. What are your criteria for selecting the images for your own puzzles? This is the original question, and I would extend that to how do you pick the puzzles for the competitions?
I think it's kind of back to front, because we have only been producing our own puzzles since early 25, but we've been picking puzzles. Well, I've been picking puzzles since like early 24. So I think it's important to consider, first of all, what were the goals of the Euro Jigsaw Jam, and one was the opportunity to have a competition amongst Europeans on a regular basis with 500-piece puzzles, and the other one was to be a training ground for the World Championship. We had, for example, Kristen Tuve and Alejandro Clemente participate from EJJ number 2 onwards. So we had very fast people, and also the podium winners of the EJJ number 1, they were all very fast, and those are still the regular names that we're used to seeing. So there was always a certain high level of participation from the faster people, and it makes sense to provide a variety of images that are suitable for training. And so therefore, I would say variety is of utmost importance. And secondly, which means not only a variety of images, but also a variety of difficulty level. It doesn't make sense just to have like easy fun puzzles all the time, even though I know some people might want that. But if you then have colorful, fun illustrations week after week, and then you go to your nationals and you get a landscape, and then in your team round you get a castle, and then in your pairs round you get a butterfly with a blurry background, then the training hasn't really helped you. So, I mean, the majority of the nationals are sponsored by Ravensburger, and they tend to be, the current collection tends to use a lot of harder images. So there have to be harder images in there. I think just comparing that to like other competitions that are smaller or are more like grassroots level, they're not necessarily going to have, world champions participating or world champion potentials. In those competitions, they can have a lot easier level, which means when I pick the puzzles, and then in 2024, something that was kind of drilled into my head, which was constantly mentioned in interviews, it was mentioned in YouTube videos, and just from the community and on Instagram, was the disappointment of published puzzles in in-person events, specifically like certain nationals, where someone might win because they've done the puzzle 4 times, even though they may not be the fastest person in that country, and how that skewed the results. And so for me, having a puzzle that is not used as much is also a very high priority. So, because at the beginning, I also just picked, it was easy at the beginning to pick puzzles that were easy because I had the whole selection to pick from. But once you start taking out like the best puzzles, in the end, you tend to left with like the harder, the not so attractive images. But for me, I use myspeedpuzzling.com. Like that is a really important tool for me because I can see how popular a puzzle is done. If I see a puzzle has been done 300 times, I'm not going to pick it for the EJJ.
No, the pool is not as big as people might imagine. So if you take away all the old puzzles, which people have done, you take away the new ones, which are super attractive, so people have already done them, then you only stay in the 500 puzzle bubble, which is not that big to begin with. Not endless puzzles left.
Yeah.
And then we still have to like them. I don't think Michelle would choose a puzzle where she goes like, oh, this is terrible. You know, which again excludes a whole bunch.
There are a lot of puzzles out there that are just like way too hard, you know, like something from like the world from outer space, or some, you know, a brown lion in the brown savannah, for example. You could, but it's just like, why? I don't want to do that. So all this to say is that for me, a really high priority is that the puzzle is somewhat new for the majority of people. And that's why I keep having to find new brands. I have to keep, kind of 3 steps ahead. And I have to use myspeedpuzzling.com to try and check, like, is this puzzle too popular? Because at the beginning, I did use some images, and then it turned out that the podium all had done the puzzle before. And it was made quite clear that didn't give such a good feeling, that people were like, well, I was doing it for my first attempt and I came 4th. But everyone on the podium has done it before, once or twice before. And so that really drilled into me that people wanted, you know, newer images. And just to say that there might be some competitions out there, that their goals might be different. Their goals might be just to have everyone have a good time, that everybody finishes the puzzle, but I have to kind of balance the needs of the fast individuals with also with the average puzzlers. And that's why we came up with a 50 plus sub 50 thing.
That's also why we started producing our own puzzles. It's just not that much out there.
I'm just trying to balance the needs of my goals to find the puzzles, a lot of variety, variety of training level. So with our own brand, we have a lot more flexibility. However, it also depends on the availability of images. So when we first started, it's no secret, we used AI for the first 2 images, and we received a lot of feedback about that, which we took into consideration. But we had got the ball rolling and we needed to kind of keep moving. And that's why for the next batch, we used images that were available to us, which happened to be images from family members and our colleagues.
Yeah, family and friends.
Yeah, and like mood board, I just designed myself. But now we're at a point where we have participants who have been submitting images, and I think this is really fun. And we had the first one from Wies, which was very popular, and we're going to have another one this coming week. I think that's also going to be very interesting. And then we've also identified other sources of puzzles, of artwork. We've also had people on Instagram who were not related to our puzzles, but who saw my post about it, my original post, and wanted to offer some artwork. So we have more possibilities now.
So we use direct artists who approach us. There's stock photography, of photos and of arts, and there's also old, there's
public domain
things. We use a few. There's a a lot of rubbish there, but there's also some nice pictures which are totally free to use. So we have, I think, 1 or 2 from there coming up at some point. So it's a mixture. But what really important is that we like the picture, and especially Michelle can imagine it to be a good puzzle. Not necessarily the fastest in the world, but a good one. Yeah. It has to spark joy in one way or another.
Yeah, and I think an important thing as well is that it has to be almost kind of like expect the unexpected, because there are certain brands that they have a certain aesthetic. You look at the puzzle and you can already guess what the brand is because it fits a certain style, and every image that's taken in that portfolio fits a certain style. Like if you think of Pieces in Peace, which are very pretty images, they're always very feminine, they're very cozy, they're always very soft and bright colors, and they have a specific type of painting or illustration style. And then, for example, if you contrast that with these typical British images, without seeing the box, you can immediately guess it's going to be a Gibson's or a Falcon. There's a few of them that are used for Ravensburger, but there's a very certain aesthetic there that oh, that's them, and you would expect that. I think for us, we don't have that. Like when we look at all the images that we've used so far, we've only used 7, but we have another 10 that have already been printed. They're so different, like completely different. Yeah. And I like that. It's like we don't need to have a theme or a certain aesthetic. They should be new, they should be interesting, and they should challenge you in different ways.
Yeah.
So if there was a theme that I would like to explore or to have, to differentiate ourselves from other brands, it would be that I want to explore more puzzles specifically for speed puzzlers that other brands wouldn't make. For example, the mood board, that was all about, kind of celebrating we're speed puzzlers and trying to make it as fast as possible. I mean, I said that in advance that my goal was to make the fastest speed puzzle in the world. And it was for some time. There's going to be another one coming up, which I think will override that. So stay tuned. Many people have it already in their stack, but there's going to be a super fast one coming up. But so firstly, having puzzles that are really, really fast and that basically you can just sprint and get your maximum time, your minimum time out of it, but also exploring the idea of okay, we're speed puzzlers, we're part of a community. Who are we? And what are some things that we find cool that maybe other people don't find cool? And let's put that on a puzzle. So I have some ideas, and also today you also saw one that was made with this in mind. So I think that's something that I would like to explore a bit more as we continue.
What do you think makes a good speed puzzle?
Yeah, easily identifiable sections, not so much repetition, define sections, which might just be like a color block, but it could also be a collage. Collages tend to be a lot quicker. Gradients certainly help, as opposed to solid colors, and just having a theme that sparks joy. That makes you want to, that you see it and maybe you smile and motivates you immediately.
Yeah, I think that makes a big difference. When you love what you see, you're just gonna do better.
Yes, of course.
I assume, as someone who doesn't speed puzzle.
It's easier to love a puzzle that wants to be loved.
Yeah, true.
How many brands do you work with, and how is it working with so many puzzle brands from across the board?
So I think we've probably used at least 20 brands in the EJJ, possibly up to 30 by now. And I'm working with a few brands right now. Like I have some puzzles in the warehouse that have never been used before in the EJJ, and I also have some others on their way right now. So there's more brands coming that you're going to be introduced to if you didn't know them already. I would say working with the smaller companies is very pleasant. I like dealing directly with other business owners and also the people who started the company, the people who picked the puzzles. There's a very good working relationship there. It's always a bit harder with a larger company where there's many steps to go through. You're not talking to the person who actually does puzzles and picks them, or understands necessarily what our needs are. And I think in terms of working with different companies, it's very good. Yeah, I like it. So that I'm going to a trade fair in one to 2 weeks very soon, and there will also be a lot of brands represented, and I'm looking forward to
Finding ever more.
see what other new brands I can find.
How much do they know speed puzzling now?
For many of them, me talking about it is like their first knowledge of it. But I think it definitely helps that when after a competition, I really appreciate it when people tag the brand on Instagram. And if I see that they haven't, then I often go through and tag them in my reshare so that the brand sees, oh, hey, look, 20 people shared a post about the puzzle. This must be a really big thing. And that next time when I talk to them, or next time they choose their collection, that they would consider more 500-piece puzzles. And I think that's kind of the barrier that we have to get over, that they realize there's a group of people with very specific needs. They want 500-piece puzzles. Oh, most of our puzzles are 1000s. Maybe we should consider serving this niche group of people.
No. I would like to know the percentage of the typical puzzle buyers, how many are speed puzzlers and how many are casual puzzlers. That must be the absolute majority, because we sometimes really talk with bigger companies. Couldn't you make a few more 500s? And just flat out, no, we don't care. It's a small market. And that's it. They're not, we're not relevant enough yet.
Hopefully yet. Why are pairs competitions more expensive than solos, even though they use the same piece counts?
Because there's two people involved that are enjoying the experience and that are going to appear in the results. Basically, I just followed the standard set by the World Championship and by the National Championships, that a pairs competition costs slightly more than an individual competition. And actually, that's the first time in almost 2 years that anybody has asked that question. So up until now, no one has ever questioned the price of the pairs puzzle. But one thing to note is that we have never raised our prices. So when we started with the first competition in April 24, the individual cost €25 and the pairs cost 30, and here we are almost 2 years later and it's the same price. And one of our goals is to make it affordable as possible. I mean, we hear in the news all the time that everything is going up, and we are trying...
Not only in the news.
Yeah.
We see that everywhere.
We see that in other places too, but that is something that people talk about. And I think one of our goals is to keep the prices stable as much as possible. And if that means, for example, instead of raising prices, if we can, because of the success of it, that we can then go to brands and say, hey, look at how many hundreds of puzzles we purchased in the past year for our competitions, and see how this is growing there, and talk to them, could we get a discount? And that enables us then, and many of them have been able to offer a discount on a larger number, which enables us to keep the price the same. So I don't see in the immediate future that the prices for the competitions would raise. It's more likely that the shipping costs would increase.
Shipping costs we have already changed, I think, twice since we started with this, just because DHL is raising their prices constantly. They offer nothing else, but the price goes up, and there's no discussing with them anyway. They just say it's inflation and that's it, even if they raise the prices way higher than inflation. But I can't make any decisions there. It's not us, of course. But to come back to the original question that you had, it's true. It's the same puzzle. It could be the same price pairs as a solo competition, but because the money is already shared over two people, basically the pairs competitions are subsidizing a little bit the price of the solo competition. Some solo competitions easily pay for themselves because the puzzles we bought weren't that expensive, but sometimes we use a smaller brand. They just cannot produce that cheaply, and there's not that much margin, but we still want to offer that. As Michelle said, we want maximum variety. And then it's simply that some competitions subsidize others a bit more, and in that case, the pairs help out
Yeah.
to balance the whole thing in general.
And also just with an everyday individual competition, there is a huge range of prices within that, but we just decided that it just makes sense to keep one price. It doesn't make sense to have, well, this is a cheaper puzzle, so let's make the competition 17 euros and we'll make this competition 21 euros and this one 25 and this one 29, because then automatically people are thinking, oh, it could be that brand or it could be that brand. I think it takes away a bit from the surprise, but it's also, I think if you participate in multiple competitions, it all averages out anyway. So it's just easy to know that each competition is the same prices rather than changing the price. And also, for example, there was one puzzle competition that I used where the puzzle, if you were to buy it in a normal shop, it would have been 23 euros. There are some like Ravensburger glow in the dark puzzles that are, I think they're 18.99 is the regular price. So we can only offer puzzles like that in the competition if we also have some lower value puzzles to balance it out. But yeah, it might be that you have bad luck if you only buy one competition and it happens to be a lower value puzzle. But if you compete in multiple, you will get a really big variety.
So basically the price of one puzzle is not just the price of the one puzzle, but it's actually kind of the entire competition season in that sense, or that release.
Yeah. It has to balance itself out. If not, we just couldn't do certain brands, which would be sad. Yeah.
Has Michelle ever suspected anyone of cheating?
No, I have. So in competition, okay, there's always the possibility. You know, I'm not at home. I'm not checking the seals of the tape. There is always going to be the possibility that happens, but I just think it doesn't really make sense. Why would you spend money on a puzzle to then do it beforehand, then put it all back together, try and make it like it's new?
I mean, the whole point of the mystery puzzle is to get a real challenge. You don't know what it is, you're not prepared, you haven't done it many times, ideally. You want this information for yourself. I mean, whoever cheats themselves, then they really don't need to buy a mystery puzzle. It defeats the purpose.
Yeah, I mean, you can just buy the puzzle after the event, locate it secondhand, buy it, do it yourself and check yourself in the ranking. I don't think it really makes sense that you would then, spend 25 euros or more in order to cheat yourself. And even then, if you were then to, like, say, get a podium placement or get a top 10 placement, I think it would take away from your own feeling. Like, you wouldn't feel as proud of it as if you had done it on your own merit. So I don't really see the point in it. Something that I have had to do with, like, detective work. So one of them is two things. One is leaks. Potential leaks, that's a different topic, but then regarding like cheating, is that there were some times when somebody was doing very well, getting podium placements in the 50 plus, and then they kept on getting more podium placements in the 50 plus, and I had to do like some detective work. So then I would look at their myspeedpuzzling.com and I would count up how many times that they had done a sub 50 based on when they bought the last puzzles. So if the last time they purchased puzzles was like the 10th of May, then I would filter their results for 500 pieces by fastest times and then only look at what happened previously. And up until now, like there were a few times where I was like, oh, this looks a bit dodgy, but it always checked out because either maybe they had done five up till that point, and so they did well because they were reaching that level of getting sub 50 times. Then the sale came, they were still at the 50 plus club, so they purchased the next batch, but then they continued on that level and then they got some more podium placements. And so after a while I was like, this person's been on there 8 times or something. So I started to, do some research, but thankfully I can say that every time it has been correct.
That is good to hear.
Yeah. And also people are very careful. They don't want to be seen as a cheat. I've had multiple people write to me, just so you know, I just got my sub 50, but I still have 350 plus puzzles. I don't want you to think anything. I'm just letting you know. So people do, I think that's one of the really great things about the community as well, is that people do have like this obligation, like they understand like this honor system. You know, people subscribe to it willingly, and people also feel a certain obligation there, and they don't want to be seen that could be, you know, cheating or taking advantage of the system. And also sometimes people, you know, sometimes a puzzle got a bit damaged in transport, and people wrote to me, I just wanted you to know the corner ripped off, but I taped it up and I didn't look, I taped it up and I was really careful. But just so you know, like they really don't want to be seen that they're taking any advantage of this. And I really appreciate that. And I think that's, I think this kind of, this moral, shared morals and honor system or honesty really is one of the reasons why this works. I think if you were to take an online competition based mainly on honesty and put it for another sport or another video game or something like that, I think there would be so many ways that people would be cheating, but I just don't think people want to cheat.
We cannot fully exclude it. People, if they really wanted to, they could, but it's not poker. You don't get rich from cheating at speed puzzling, so it just would be silly. And I personally wonder, how much better can you actually be if you actually really looked at the puzzle, maybe even did it twice? How much better does that make you? I don't know. I don't have numbers for that.
It can be significant. Sometimes it's 2 minutes, sometimes it's 6, sometimes it's 10 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but it's not like you can get 20 minutes off of your time.
No,
Like
it doesn't
half an hour.
It doesn't turn a slow puzzler into a fast puzzler.
Yeah.
It doesn't do that. But
And the thing is, you know where you are, and you also know the other people who are in your range. Like whenever I'm looking at results, I always see Fuji a little bit above me, a little bit behind me. You know, we have markers. You know, and I know other people who are around the same spot as me, and it always fluctuates. But we all kind of get together progressively together. If there was someone who was in my range in an online competition, and then in the in-person events, you know, turned out to be 20 minutes slower, it would be like, oh, you know, but
strange.
so I think why would anybody do that? It doesn't make sense.
So we never had any real clue or no indication of any real cheating so far.
That is really, really good to hear. My ears did perk up as you said leaks. So you're going to have to tell us a little bit about those.
I don't like to be the puzzle police, but I do have to be the puzzle police sometimes. So getting back to this is an honor system, the flex system. We offer people the opportunity, if they cannot participate in the online meeting, that they can also pre-record. We have had sometimes that there have been a few leaks, but luckily I was informed of it very quickly, and I was able to write to that person or contact that person straight away and kind of,
Make them take it down.
fix it. So what does it mean of a leak of a flex competition? One person put an unreleased, somebody did the unreleased puzzle as a flex. They made the product, the puzzle on myspeedpuzzling.com. They uploaded the picture and they put their time. And somebody who's regularly on myspeedpuzzling.com saw an image and saw that it was brand speedpuzzle.eu and thought, hang on, there's going to be a live stream tomorrow. This can't work. That can't be right. I've never seen this image before at Speed Puzzle. That must be the unreleased puzzle. They wrote to me on Instagram, and because I check Instagram fairly regularly throughout the day, I was able to get the message straight away. I quickly found out who it was. I got their email address from our database, wrote to them. I can't remember if they had Instagram. If they had Instagram as well, I wrote to them there. And that's one example. So, but that was only 1 hour before the live stream. So maybe some people saw it, but it's not like, I don't know if that would help people, but it's things like that where people just don't think. Or,
It's no bad intent. They just don't think about it.
It's the kind of honest mistake that
Yeah.
kind of happens.
Especially when you have a routine. I do a puzzle, I log my time, this is just what I do. Yeah. you just to do it with an unreleased as well.
Yeah, and I feel like a broken record. Like I feel like we put this in every email. We say it at the beginning of every competition. I put that every time. It's in the product when you order it. It's in the information that's attached. It's in the
Sometimes we forget to mention it somewhere. That happens just because we copied the wrong text or something.
Yeah, or maybe somebody doesn't think it's an unreleased and they think it's just a regular puzzle and they can just log it. But that was one example. Another one is that somebody put, they recorded their video and they put in their YouTube title EJJ whatever 100 or something. They put it online and they forgot to make it unlisted. And the competition, there was a flex on one day and then the following day was going to be the live stream. And somebody from the community here didn't have that puzzle, wanted to watch the live stream, but they got the day wrong. So on the day before, they searched on YouTube and couldn't find the live stream and they typed in EJJ 100 and up popped this video of somebody doing the puzzle. So the viewer wrote to me straight away on Instagram, hey, I've seen this. I think this is supposed to be unreleased. And once again, I wrote to the person straight away and it was taken care of. So I don't feel that it was bad intentions. People did react straight away. It would be very different if they didn't and they just left it on there. So there's been a few things like that. But if you consider like every flex competition has or unreleased competition has between like 120 and 200 participants. We've been doing this since January 2025, and we've had maybe like 5 leaks that were kind of like nipped in the bud very quickly. I think that's a very low percentage.
Yeah, it's fine.
And you also mentioned that people are actually also vigilant, so they kind of police themselves.
Yeah,
as
people
well.
do care. Like, people will, and that's the thing. Like, and I feel like if people suspect something or they see something that they shouldn't have, that they do write to me because they want to protect the community. They don't want the rest of the people who happen to go to myspeedpuzzling.com to see that. Oh yeah, and there's another one. Since myspeedpuzzling.com has changed the tags, you can now tag your attempt as an EJJ. And we did have somebody, like just in the past week, they participated in a flex competition. And this puzzle has already been on the market for 6 months, but there weren't that many times. So they added their time after they did their video, but the flex meeting wasn't going to be for like another couple of days. But they added their time anyway, and then they used the EJJ tag. And then somebody who also did the puzzle as a flex, out of interest, looked at myspeedpuzzling.com to see their times, and they saw that someone had the EJJ tag, and they also wrote to me and said, Michelle, somebody has used the EJJ tag. They're not supposed to, and I appreciate that. And then I could also react straight away.
What we learned from all of this is we really need very obvious disclaimers in yellow, and so nobody has any excuses. I think we sometimes hide it too well in the text, or it's not there at all because we forgot it. It just has to be super, super clear.
Yeah, I mean, people want to protect the experience from the others, like even if somebody has done it for themselves, they want to, protect the people in the live stream who haven't seen it yet. And I do appreciate that very much, that we're all working together, that it's not like, there are things that I do check. There are certain things that I'm keeping an eye on. But there's only so much I can see, and I'm glad that there are other pairs of eyes out there that if they see something, they'll let me know.
So you don't have to be the puzzle police all alone.
Yes.
The last one is, what is the most rewarding part of doing this for you? For both of you, really.
Happy wife, happy life.
Is that it?
That's for you. That was your answer.
That's my answer. Okay, cool. No, I'm just generally happy when it all works out well. It's a lot of small moving parts that the participants might not even see at all. And when it all works out and there was no mistakes, no nothing, then I'm happy.
Yeah, so it's very rewarding in different levels. One is I'm very grateful that our business has the opportunity to provide this for the puzzlers, and that we get to be a very active part of the community. It's way more than what I expected. I thought maybe I would just be doing some quiet online competitions, but I get a lot of satisfaction of being able to provide this, and that has become part of our business. It's very rewarding on a personal level that I get to engage with so many people on a very close level and make friends out of it. And this is not our first like business product, but it's the most satisfying of all the products that we have been selling, because through the other brands that we sold, we also had a social media presence, but I never felt as natural or as comfortable to be myself. Firstly, because the other products we were selling in German mainly, and as a non-native speaker, it just always felt very awkward for me. So I never really did like talking videos. If I did, I would have to film it like 10 times and be questioning, did I say das instead of der, instead of die? Like,
it's a liberating experience for
it
Michelle.
is. So I just feel like I can just make a quick story if I need to and say something and just be myself and not have to say, oh, Erik, can you proofread this video? So just being able to be myself and be able to interact and actually have people that I then in person meet up with, like you, with people on my team and other teams and events we've been to. So the personal friendships that have developed is very rewarding, and just seeing that when people like thank me like after a competition, that they appreciate it, that I organized it, that people discovered a brand that they had never seen before, that they got their personal best, like all these little like comments just makes it a very wholesome, rewarding and happy experience.
That was it for the audience questions for now. We're going to pretty much answer the rest once we move over to the warehouse, which is going to happen in one edit from here. So see you soon. Hello from the editing room, so to speak. So what happened is that once we were home from Trier and I started looking at the footage that I have taken, it turned out that the entire section that we have filmed in the warehouse was basically gone. So pretty much everything vanished. I'm not sure what happened, but yeah, that was not very nice. But what was really, really nice is that Michelle was kind enough to basically record a quick tour of her warehouse by herself without me. So that's what you're going to be seeing, because yeah, unfortunately the original footage where I went around as well and I could ask a couple of more questions was just gone. So Michelle re-recorded everything, and that's what you're going to be seeing now in a montage. So now we are in the shop part of our building. We have shop, offices and warehouse. This is where I spend a lot of my time. I'm actually a car seat consultant and a reborder specialist, so during the week, 3 days a week, I'm actually helping families find the best car seat solutions for them. I do consultations. I spend a lot of time out at the car park, at the cars, installing car seats and showing parents how to use them. And so all kinds of car seats from newborn up to 12 years old. And this is my little shop area. It used to be a lot bigger, but this is what we have now. And attached to the car seat room, we also have just a little extra space. We have a couch where the moms can breastfeed or put their sleeping kids, and then a few regular articles that our customers also buy. Some toys and some washcloths and baby essentials. We used to have a lot bigger shop. It used to be about 200 square meters, and we had lots and lots of products, but at the moment here in Trier we're only focusing on the car seat consultation, and then the rest is online. So now we're in the larger warehouse part. I have my jacket on because this is not heated. It's very cold in here in winter. So the people working in the lager generally wear hats or jackets the whole time. Where I'm standing now, this is part of the section for all the car seats, so you have all these big boxes. We do have a designated area for puzzles, although the puzzles are kind of getting spread out all over as the puzzle side grows, and trying to find more gaps. We also, one of the products that we have, and this was the original product that we sold when we started
being self-employed 15 years ago, I can't remember now, maybe 14 years ago, and that the modern cloth nappies. So there's lots of cute little things, nappies and accessories with cute things like dinosaurs and flowers and cute little animals. Those are also spread throughout. But yeah, the majority of the warehouse is for the big boxes of car seats, small items like baby products, and now we're getting dedicated spaces for the puzzles. So you just follow me, I'm not looking around.
Exactly, you're not pointing anything out, except when you stop somewhere, then you can start talking.
So there we have some puzzles, for example, but here we want to...
Walk in, walk in.
Too far because we also have some secret puzzles.
Okay, let's stop here. Now you can talk.
So this is my favorite aisle in the warehouse. This is aisle L, and you can see that on both sides we've got the puzzles. So these are the regular puzzles, the puzzles that you can find in the shop that are not related to the Euro Jigsaw Jam. So it's a mix. Basically, we don't really have a somebody asked the question, how do you organize the puzzles? Is it by piece count or is it by brand? At the beginning, we tried to organize by brand, but then as items sell and we get new brands in, we basically just, wherever there's a gap, we put the puzzle in and then we record it in the system that the puzzle is there. This is aisle L, and then you'll see that every shelf has a number. So for example, this is L20F. Below it is L20E. So this whole shelf is L20. Next to it we have L18. On the other side, L22E. So when we receive an order, it automatically gets printed out the location of each item. So for example, if this was the puzzle here, this is called Allgäuer Bergsee. Which is the mountain lake in the Allgäu in Germany. Lovely puzzle. This would be located at L20E, and then whoever's picking the order comes to this shelf. They see L20E. They wouldn't look at the name of the puzzle because it could be that there are lots. It could be that there are multiple puzzles that could have a lake on it or be on the mountains. So what they always look at is the barcode. So the barcode is also printed out on the order form, and then they would just look at the last four numbers. In this case, it is 7684, and that way they can just pull out the puzzle, check that the last four numbers match, and then they can put that in the box. So now I'm at the other end of aisle L, and I can't show you in this direction because this is where row Z starts. Row Z goes along the back wall. That's where we have all our unreleased puzzles. It's also where we have all the upcoming EJJ puzzles. So that one I can't be showing, but you can see here, for example, we've got a nice delivery of Gibsons and Ravensburger ready to go. We also have some trefoils, pieces and peas, yellow, and everything is just a bit mixed, but it's just lovely to get an order and be able to kind of come along and pick the puzzles like that. But yeah, so in the shelves behind, they're very tall shelves that go up to the ceiling, and there we have like 3 layers of boxes. So we get about 100 to 140 of each puzzle that I'm going to use in a competition, and then it's usually stored in this side of the building, kind of out of the way. When Robert is going to wrap them, then he'll come along with a big wagon, he'll load up all the boxes that he needs, take them over to the offices where it's warm and where he can sit down at a desk and wrap the puzzles. And yeah, it's also just very nice. I like to come to the back corner and kind of organize things as a puzzle gets released. Then it becomes available in the store. So then we count them and put them into, like, give them a proper shelf number, and then it means it can be sold in the online shop. But we don't even create the product in the system because our systems are all automated. As soon as a product is made and has inventory, it goes onto the website. So the unreleased puzzles, in order to avoid any mistakes happening, we don't even create the product. It's all just existing in the background there. So we have 2 puzzle orders that have been picked. This order here is going to the UK. We have Wonderful Colourful World and a nice wooden puzzle from Treffle. And we have an order going to the United States. Colourful World, Bottle Biomes, International Puzzle Day, and Puzzle Community. Some nice 200-piece puzzles and some nice 99-piece puzzles. So I'm going to bring these over to the pack station, over to Mike, and yeah, then they can get ready to be sent out. So this is also my favorite aisle. This is where we have all of the mystery puzzles that have already been packed and labeled. For example, we have this nice little package here with dinos on it, number 138. We have an unreleased puzzle, number 143. And this is directly in front of the packing station. So it's very easy after the sales. Usually we stick to this aisle here and can come and just pick all the orders. And yeah, like the other ones, they also have a shelf number, which makes it easy to just come along and pick the right puzzle. And yeah, doesn't it look pretty? And look, we have something different. That's the package. We're doing something a little bit different. So that's number 131. Another mystery. So I just wanted to show you another aisle. This is aisle O. We were just in aisle B with the mystery puzzles for the Euro Jigsaw Jam. So we do have the puzzles spread out around the lager. Yeah, so this is also where we have some stock puzzles that you would find in the shop. And yeah, just wanted to say thanks for coming on our warehouse tour, and I hope it gives you like a little insight of what we do here and how your puzzles get sent out and kind of behind the scenes of an online shop. We are just going to go back to the office and check out Robert wrapping some puzzles. And other than that, yeah, thanks for coming along.
Okay, ready?
Go. But aren't you the wrong? Isn't the paper the wrong way around?
Oh, because you won't get two on here like that.
Ah, okay.
Not enough paper.
I see.
No, that's what paper they're gonna. You're gonna edit this something like that. I've done a couple of them.
Yeah, I know. Not me. I haven't done a
We try to
single.
avoid waste as much as possible.
you.